You are listening to the Disruptor series. Our world is constantly evolving, and at the forefront of that change are women who dare to disrupt. I'm Jennifer Fields.
And I'm Sydney Robertson. Join us as we bring you an exclusive look into the journeys of visionary female founders and influential corporate leaders.
Get ready for candid conversations, a dose of inspiration, and actionable takeaways from the disruptors themselves. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to another episode of the Disruptor series.
Hi, Marley.
Hi.
We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much.
It's such an incredible moment for us, considering that we've known you for such a long time.
I know, probably 20 plus years.
Yeah, I think.
Are we that old? Oh my gosh.
Well, how about you?
Say it.
I think we were in elementary school when we had met each other.
Yeah.
And we went to your house for this grotto party, and we had
my family was always hosting the party.
Best house, the best pool.
The best pool. And I remember there were some interesting characters that we had in our office, and they came and they were wearing some inappropriate outfits in front of you.
Maybe some Speedos. As a young child, I do remember that.
But since then, we really wanted to have you here because we're so impressed with the journey that you've had as an entrepreneur. You are the founder of Rax, a peer-to-peer clothing rental app, which is like the Airbnb of fashion.
Yeah.
How did you get started on this? Did you go straight into entrepreneurship from after school?
No. So I actually started at a Big Four. So I felt like when I graduated, wanted that traditional career path at one of the biggest companies. That's kind of I was at Queen's Commerce. That's kind of what everyone wanted to go into, right? Like accounting or finance or consulting. So I did that. And then I was kind of oh, this is it. This is what I work so hard towards. And at the same time, I was just attending a ton of events like weddings. All my friends are starting to get married, buying all these expensive dresses. And I literally just bought a $900 bridesmaid dress just to wear it once and have it sit in my closet. So, I was obsessed with entrepreneurship, kind of listening to every podcast, reading every book. And anytime I'd have a pain point, I'd write it down. So when I got that pain point of, this $900 dress just sitting in my closet, I was okay, well, someone asked if they could borrow it. I said, yeah, of course. But I was how could this be done on a larger scale? And that's what led me to create Rax, or an app where you can rent out pieces in your closet to make money on. And then on the flip side, you can also borrow and save 80% of retail value.
It's incredible. And on this journey, what I'm also really impressed of is that you were able to get funding pretty early on within the start of this journey. So let us know how you went about getting the access to those funds.
Yeah. Well, at first, when I first had the idea, I was kind of how am I going to start an app, right? My background's in marketing, not technical at all. So I first was actually pitching venture capitalist firms. I didn't even know what that was when I first started.
Wow.
But I was let me pitch some VCs, some angels, and the people I would pitch would be kind of the stereotypical 50-year-old white male. And I would explain to them my idea, and they would be what is that? Let me ask my wife if she would use something like that. They really didn't understand. So I had to get super scrappy. I knew I wasn't going to even raising on an idea is very difficult, especially in Canada. So yeah, I had to get scrappy. I was pitching at every pitch competition. I was applying for grants, especially non-dilutive funding, so they wouldn't take equity. So yeah, I just applied to everything that I could, won some, lost some, and then ultimately ended up securing $65K in non-dilutive funding. So no one has equity in the company, and was able to start my mobile app from that.
That's incredible. And do you have any advice of how others who are trying to get funding should be approaching even the pitch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely apply for everything. I applied for so many things. Sometimes I wouldn't even get a response. Sometimes I would pitch and lose. So I think definitely apply to everything. I set a time every couple of weeks just to research what's out there, what can I be applying for? And then once you actually get it, yeah, the pitch is the most important part. I definitely would tell a story. I would kind of lead with my personal pain points. So kind of what I told you, I bought an expensive dress. It was sitting there. It was an unmonetized asset. And then depending on who you're pitching to, if I was pitching to more of an environmentalist group or an environmentalist pitch, I would focus on the fast fashion stats and how we're solving the global fast fashion crisis and driving circularity of fashion. If I was pitching to, maybe a female founding group, I would pitch that dress that you bought to wear once, it's sitting in your closet. So kind of tailoring your audience was really helpful. And then always saying what I would do with the money. So if I was winning 10 grand, I would say 2 grand would go to partnering with an influencer. We expect 50,000 views. This would lead to 5,000 downloads and 5K in sales. So always being very tangible with what you're going to do with that money as well.
So with marketing, with social media, like a largest part of your overall strategy?
That's definitely our number one is just organic social media. Like we really don't have budget to do a bunch of things. So organic social, Instagram, TikTok, really just like me going on there and trying to create content.
And you do have like a wide range of like different types of brands within your offering. So is there a focus where you want to try to incorporate maybe even some retailers in there, or like what are your future plans?
I would love to build out sort of like a rental as a service. So we have the technology that we can power fashion rental. We have the audience interested in fashion rental. So would love to partner with fashion brands to power their rental. These fashion companies are getting a lot of pressure from whether it be like government regulations, their own consumers to be more sustainable, right? To close the loop, to communicate what they're doing for the environment. So would love to sort of be that bridge for them to have a new revenue stream, reach a new audience, and then also hit some of their sustainability goals as well.
When you're creating your content, like how are you thinking about your branding? Are you thinking about bringing in influencers, certain fashionistas, or different actual brands? Like how do you approach it when you're building out your content strategy for Racks?
Yeah, a lot of it is literally just me getting on there and trying to hop onto trends, or I like to connect with the audience in very like a plain speak way, like kind of like UGC content, like content you would see on your feed, very casual language. And with working with influencers, I actually just did a pop-up for 5 weeks in Toronto, like a pop-up store. Oh, wow. And I partnered with a few influencers to have their clothes in the store. So those were exactly like you said, fashionistas, posting fashion content, a lot of micro creators who have a big impact on their audience. When they suggest something, they really listen. So yeah, really a lot of it's just me or a few select influencers that I follow and just genuinely love their content.
Well, I missed sharing earlier that the reason we know each other is because we've worked with your dad and also your mom as well in the world of advertising and media.
Yeah.
And wondering if you're looking to incorporate advertising within your solution as well.
Yeah, I definitely would love to do some paid advertising on TikTok or Instagram, even Google search. A lot of times people are searching for, keywords like dress brands or even like the style of dress, and no one's really bidding on those keywords, right? But we have that inventory. So if we could bid on those keywords, they're cheap. Their keyword difficulty is not that expensive. So yeah, would love to incorporate that. And then Instagram and TikTok really maybe just boosting our organic content. I've done that a little bit. And that seems to do well. So yeah, definitely kind of dipping my toe into paid advertising, but haven't done too much yet.
And how about within the app as well? Are you looking to embed it within your app?
Maybe in terms of like promoted posts. Once we get a lot of inventory, maybe I've kind of thought about promoted posts. So to get your post or your listing in front of people. But yeah, haven't dove too much into that. In terms of like partnering with brands to promote their products, possibly like if we end up doing brand partnerships, would love to do that as well.
Well, sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I was going to say, obviously, like what I think differentiates you from, say, another kind of a Rent the Runway or something else is that you are so tech first with what you're doing. As I know, AI is a huge hot word right now. How are you embedding AI into your company?
Yeah, not right now. We're not doing too much, but we have it in the roadmap for sure. We want to make sure we're really understanding our audience, right? So if you could go onto the app and then you could see listings that were tailored to you based on your previous browsing, what your size is, what kind of fashion you like. We want to show you what you'd be most interested in. So that's definitely in the roadmap to sort of personalize feeds, depending on our user.
Well, you're very young.
Oh my God,
not even 30 yet.
It doesn't feel that way anymore.
and not sure if you had experience in management at all, like wondering if this leading and all that is kind of a new area for you. And if you've had any like mentors or books or like different courses you've taken to help you along the way.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of leading a team at like various roles in the past, just like maybe one or two people. And then, yeah, really everything I learned was from like podcasts or reading books. I was lucky to do my MBA actually while I was at EY in technology, which was really helpful. So yeah, really just everything was pretty scrappy and just trying to learn. Everything's Googleable. So I would just kind of Google University my way through everything.
Yeah, for sure. And then I know you're not embedding AI into your actual app yet.
Yeah.
You have future plans, but I'm sure you're also using it as a very big part of how you're running your business too.
Oh yeah, I use ChatGPT for so many things, pretty much every day. Yeah, it's really great. It's how you prompt it, right? And then I kind of take what they give me and then personalize it, humanize it. But it's great for just like you could ask it to do anything, right? Like build me a strategy, give me feedback on this. Even Google Gemini, like sometimes I'll pitch to it and I'll be like, give me feedback, and you say the pitch and then it gives you feedback.
Wow.
So there's a lot of cool tools and different ways you can use AI.
It's so true. I mean, even for us being on our journey, like we're using a lot of it too. And I actually wasn't even logging in, and I was told like that's not a good idea. Like it needs to know who you are. And
I've trained it on
get
rocks
smarter.
for sure. I can say like, what is rocks? And it will spit out like exactly what it is.
Yeah, we're so fortunate now that we have all these great tools.
I know, what do
to
we do
use.
for it?
I have no idea. Well, along getting to being established and getting technology up and running, what did you find was the most challenging part of getting started?
Yeah, well, I kind of talked about it a bit, but not really. So when I first had the idea, I was like, let me pitch VCs. Couldn't get money. So I'm like, okay, let me pay someone to build it. People were quoting insane things, like literally 100 grand for an app. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have that. So let me get scrappy. So I actually built the first prototype on like a no code platform, and it was very slow and laggy, honestly, barely even worked. I launched it anyways though, because I spent a lot of time and a little bit of money to build it. So I just launched it just to test the market, to see if it was something people even wanted, because peer-to-peer fashion rentals new. Like I would say 99% of people I talk to have never heard about it. They don't know how it works. There's a lot of education. So I was like, okay, let me just put the app out there, test the idea, kind of find that product market fit. And if it's, difficult to use and people are still using it, then that's sort of the best form of product market fit. So I launched that. People definitely used it a bit, but most of our feedback was like, this really works, but like, cool idea. So I took all our early feedback, all our early traction, and then got a CTO to come on board to fully rebuild the app. So to answer your question, the biggest challenge was the technology, like not knowing how to build it, and then building something that was slow and laggy and barely worked, and trying to scale that, and then having to start from ground zero.
Yeah, and that's definitely the biggest investment of all, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like too, I mean, Jen and I are co-founders in many things that we do. So we have each other. Being a solopreneur, like I know it can be a bit lonely and daunting sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, how do you build your community and have people that are rooting for you? What's been your journey around that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a lonely journey. There's no one to sort of like bounce ideas off of, or if I have an idea, I'm like, okay, I'll just run with it. Now that I have my CTO, I definitely can go to him, especially with a lot of our product things. But yeah, really just my friends and family have been so supportive. Even from day one, when I first had the idea, I was telling all my friends, I'm like, should I do this? And they're like, yeah. Like there was no sort of like doubt or hesitation. You guys both know my parents too. I was like, should I do this? They're like, sure. Like, do it. Like, okay. I'm always like doing weird things like this. So they're like, sure. Like, I think I'm very grateful to have people around me that are really supportive. And we're just like, yeah, sure. Like, why wouldn't you do that? It really wasn't a question. I think starting a business, people think it obviously is this big thing, but they think it's, so hard to start. Like really just do the next step. It seems very daunting when there's like a billion things to do, but if you just do the next thing each day, you'll get there and launch it.
Do you find, I'm part of a women's entrepreneur group in out of UK, random story, but so that's great. I have that out of London, but for Canada, do you have any communities you're a part of online that are inspiring for you, that help you? Like, for example, like when Jen and I were starting, it's how do you incorporate a company? Like really basic things.
No, I had no idea. It was confusing.
Yeah. So do you have any resources you can share beyond obviously friends and family that support you in that environment of female entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
That's been helpful along the way?
Yeah, again, like getting scrappy, I basically apply to every single accelerator or incubator program. And those are basically programs that are put on, whether they're government funded or privately, where basically they connect entrepreneurs through a group. It's kind of like a cohort. So each year they have a new group.
Is there a certain like online community where they can find these grant applications?
I don't think there's
resources?
like a one centralized place, but I just sort of found it through Googling. So there's like League of Innovators. It's for under 30. There's a bunch of them. I can give you guys all the names after.
We'll share it in our show notes, because I think honestly that's the biggest thing that I think I've run into is people saying, where do I find this? Like, what's a Nuance report? Like these basic things that they don't exist. We found that there's not one centralized area.
Yeah. There's like e-commerce North if you're an e-com brand. There's a bunch of different sort of community groups that you can apply to. And then they basically run like weekly programming. So one week it'll be like marketing or like legal. Then you have a community founder sort of going through the same thing as you at that stage. So that was really helpful to bounce questions off, like how do we incorporate, or like how do we get a contract for an employee, or what's your social strategy? Like you can talk to a group of people that are going through the exact same thing as you.
Oh, it's so interesting. Do you ever get the entrepreneurial wobble, as they call it, where those days like rack sounds phenomenal, but have you ever had those moments where you're like, abort mission, what am I doing?
Oh, for sure.
And if you have, can you like tell us how you overcame them?
Yeah, it takes a lot of perseverance. Even my CTO the other day was like, I don't know how you've been at it for like this long, especially with your first prototype that barely worked. Like, how did you have the perseverance to like rebuild it and start from scratch again? I think it's just honestly the mindset and like believing in it so much. Like, I really do believe that transforming the fashion industry for a force of good and sort of being the only one in Canada to do this is really exciting. So, I mean, I definitely have days every day, pretty much every day, where I'm like, should I be doing this? Should I stop? But yeah, just giving myself grace to take breaks when I feel like that. Because when I first started, I was like, let's work 24/7. Like, it was very much that grind, hustle mentality. And then obviously it's not sustainable. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. So kind of giving myself that grace when I do feel that way.
What are your growth goals? Like, are you right now national or like certain regions? And are you looking to expand it beyond or other types of areas you want to grow in?
Yeah, we're national in Canada. We do have Canada Post integrated into the app. So if you were to go onto the app right now, you could borrow from someone in Vancouver and they could just ship it to you using a prepaid shipping label all generated in the app. So we're able to reach nationally. We do have listings all across Canada as well. So I really do, for a growth goal, want to own the Canadian market to start with, since no one's doing this in Canada right now. Like, there's no other peer-to-peer fashion rental app. And then once we sort of own the Canadian market, take that growth playbook and then apply it to other markets like the US, maybe UK, Australia, where fashion rental is a little bit more of the norm. There are some players there. So that space is a bit more educated on it. Whereas here it's, timely and costly to sort of educate the market on what fashion rental is. And then, yeah, would love to build out, like you mentioned, the rental as a service. So partnering with fashion brands to bring them onto the platform and then connect them with my audience and my technology of rental.
Yeah, and I saw that you also have insurance as part of like the offering as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is clever because that was like, you want to make sure that
your
your items are
protecting
protected.
people's items. Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
In terms of, okay, so I'm a new customer coming in.
Yeah.
So I can come in either as someone who is renting my clothing or someone who is renting on the other end. So how does that work? So you come in, just I guess walk us through the full user flow.
Yeah, exactly. We are a two-sided marketplace, but the beauty is that we find most people actually want to be on both sides. Like, if you're renting something, you probably have something in your closet that you want to rent, which is a little bit unique for a marketplace. Normally it's either or. So if you're a borrower coming into the platform, you would download the app. You can filter for, color, size, kind of like an online shopping experience. You would see hundreds of listings, and then you would click on one that you like. You would add in your address to see how far away it is from you. If it's like, 1 kilometer, you can just meet up with them in person, choose local pickup. If it's, 500 kilometers, you can choose shipping. And then that's what I talked about, kind of Canada Post being integrated into the app. You would choose a date you want it for. So maybe you have a wedding in August. You could choose August as the date, and then that lender would get a request. They can accept it, and then, they would just give you the item or ship it out to you.
And do you control the shipping on your end, or it's kind of like, what's the one that's for luxury goods you sell?
Oh, there's Poshmark or Depop.
Poshmark, that's the one.
Yes,
Sorry, I had a
yes,
moment
yes.
there.
Yeah.
Well,
Poshmark's only shipping, yeah.
Yes, but I love that experience where literally, because my partner, he's really into all this, again, just all the vintage stuff. So when we sell things, he loves the fact that he can just literally just
post it on Poshmark.
the QR code. It's easy, right? Because that's a daunting part. Is like, okay, like how do
I get their
organize all
address
of
and
that?
how do I ship it
That's
out to
really
them?
smart.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
And then if you're a lender on the app, you would just click a little plus button on the bottom of the app, and then you would add in your details like brand, size, color, where it's located. No one can see your address, so we do hide that obviously, but you would add your address so people could see how far away it is from each other. And then, it takes like a couple minutes to add a listing, and then it's on your profile, and then the borrower would request to borrow it.
Oh my gosh, amazing. What's your biggest win, I guess you could say, when you were like, oh my gosh, like you just need to integrate that moment? Any big victories or any big partnerships you've done where you're like, oh my God, this is happening right now?
I won a $40,000 grant from Coors, actually, like the beer brand.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on LinkedIn.
Yeah, they were doing their, 150-year anniversary. They had really humble beginnings of someone starting the beer company in their basement, and obviously grew it into what it is today. So they wanted to give back to a founder, and I won that, which actually allowed me to take my no-code, laggy, slow app into a coded app. So really winning that money was the catalyst for starting the new development. And then having a pop-up store in Toronto. So I also won another grant at Stacked Market. And I
Stack
got
Market, so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, where the pickleball is,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, good location, like right downtown. I won a 5-week store there this past March to April. So I got to actually have like real listings in store. People could come on and try in the items. So it was great because, you know, as a mobile app, like we're just digital. We don't have that in real life presence. So also that'd be another big win.
That's huge.
And you're running this business remotely, right? Yeah.
Yeah, fully remote.
Yeah. And when did you start the whole process?
So I first had the idea like September 2022. So I've been doing it for almost 3 years now, but
Okay.
from like the no code to in January relaunching the new app.
Incredible.
Yeah, so almost 3 years.
In terms of, you said you're very bootstrappy and scrappy. So again, for those listeners out there that again want to get started, don't have a lot of resources, what are some great podcasts and books or resources you've used to kind of help navigate your way or inspired you?
Yeah, I love listening to podcasts. I'm excited for this one to come out so I can listen to all the guests. But I love How I Built This. There's Female Founder World. Yeah, there's a bunch. I can give those to you in the show notes too to include because there's some really great resources, a lot of great books that I've read too. So yeah, definitely love listening to podcasts, reading books. But yeah, I'll give you some of the names for the show notes.
Amazing.
And what's one piece of advice that you would offer any other female entrepreneurs that are starting out?
I mean, it sounds cheesy, but like believe in yourself. You really need that. You need that perseverance. Like I was mentioning, you know, starting the app and then it was not working. Like I easily could have just been like, okay, like I tried, that's it. But it does take perseverance. Like I think you look at businesses that start and they look so successful right off the bat, but like that's years and years and years of work behind the scenes. So it definitely takes a lot of perseverance. So for a female founder that's starting, just know it's probably going to take time and it's going to take a lot of grit and determination and hustle to start. But just keep at it, because if I was to quit right after my app, then I wouldn't, or my first app, I wouldn't be here today talking to you.
So what's your target customer? What would they look like?
Yeah, our typical target sort of like that 18 to 35, 18 being like they might be finding their prom dress. I had someone rent one of my dresses for grad, which was so cute, like their grade 12 grad. And someone that's interested in fashion, they're attending a lot of events. They probably are going to a lot of weddings or prom, and they want to kind of wear something new without the impact to the fashion industry. So they want to be sustainable, save money, and then also make money, right? Like we have that side hustle. We're really allowing women to have an income on the side, like create their own, like be their own entrepreneur. So someone that's also wants a little bit of a side hustle too and make some money.
How does it work if you rent an outfit and it doesn't fit you right?
Yeah, so we actually offer a full refund for that. So we find a lot of people are actually uploading items of how it looks on them, which is solving a whole other problem in the fashion industry. When you go on a fashion website, you see it on the model, you're like, great, they're 6 foot and size 0. Like, how is that going to look like on myself? So something really special with Racks is majority of users upload what it looks like on themselves. So you can see like what that item is, what the quality is, what it looks like on that body type or size. And they add notes sort of like, oh, it fits loose here or tight here. So we try to solve that fit problem in the fashion industry, because that is one of the biggest things these fashion brands are dealing with is the income loss from returns. So if it doesn't fit when you get it, within 24 hours, if you return it, we do want to offer you a full refund just to make it as seamless as possible, especially in the early days as we're trying to acquire users.
And I know video is obviously huge. Like podcasts are bigger now, as we know.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, the emergence of video, I mean, it's superseding TV in a significant way. So do you see yourself really embedding a lot of video content into the app itself, as well as obviously your social strategy?
Yeah, so people can actually upload photos and videos on the app right now of how the item looks like on, which is really nice because a photo can only show so much. So people do take a lot of videos of what the item looks like on in the mirror or someone filming them, which is helpful to understand like the full fit. And then video is pretty much our whole social strategy. A lot of TikTok and Instagrams that we take our video content, whether it just be like me speaking to the camera or filming what items look like on. So yeah, we really do try to be video first.
And then I was thinking too, like a like to know it vibe kind of stance. Obviously, you mentioned you have the customers that are making their income on the side, but if someone was, say, to come in, try on a dress, if you were to get into the retail space, like would the vision be that they can then like you create their style for them and then they can go and actually purchase as well?
Yeah, a lot of items actually on the app are for rent and buy. So you can only rent and sell, not just sell, because we do want to keep that inventory high. But people are selling listings. We do find that majority of people rent it out. or like borrower's rent versus buy. But yeah, people can sell their listings as well, which is great because you can kind of choose.
Test the merchandise before you buy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that. I like that too, because sometimes you just want to just go out and just get it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you can just buy it if the lender allows it to be bought in. Yeah.
Well, clothes are so personal, right? Because it could be a thing where it's like you love it online, then it's like the wrong shade of purple or the wrong shade of whatever. It doesn't look good in your skin type, right? So you have that option, which is super nice.
Yeah.
This is definitely a better option, I think, because you're more in control than being able to go to like one of those fashion consortium stores that you've done, like to get rid of your stuff. Like
consignment stores.
Consignment stores, sorry, consignment stores.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know I've done that before too, and they offered me like $5 for like a Lululemon leggings. And I'm like, they're worth more than that. Like, yeah. So people are listing more like high quality items that might be harder to sell at like a consignment store. They can get higher price, like if someone buys it on racks.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that, you did your degree at Queen's University, more commerce, so you had a more traditional path. A lot of us here on the pod are in the corporate space as well. So we believe in the dual, right?
Yeah.
So the and versus the or. How do you find that the corporate environment does help support you in your entrepreneurial journey and things you've learned from the corporate world that have helped you along the way for Racks?
Yeah, I learned so much just in terms of like processes, how to manage a busy schedule. When I was at EY, it really was much like that big traditional company. And when I first had the idea for Racks, I actually wanted to switch into startups because if I could learn on someone else's dime to kind of help fuel Racks, then I would. So I switched working at EY to actually work at a growth agency. So we would kind of act as like fractional CMO, head of growth to other startups. So I worked directly with founders. They might have just raised their seed round or Series A and raised a couple million, and they're starting to build out their growth teams. So we'd be like kind of their first growth hires, working with a few early stage employees. So I would learn firsthand with founders what it took to grow a company from the ground up. So it's definitely one piece of advice for founders. If you're looking to start a company in a certain industry, definitely try to work in that industry first to learn everything. Like if you're, wanting to start a coffee bean company, work at Starbucks. Like work somewhere where you can actually learn from the ground up what it takes to scale the company. So I switched from EY into working with startups, and I learned so much that helped me launch Racks.
That's a natural progression. That's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have anyone that you would love to meet that's in the entrepreneur space?
Yeah, there's so many cool female founders, like Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx. She was doing door-to-door sales, like really bootstrapped her way up. So I love her story of just like the grit and determination it took. She literally like cut her own pantyhose, like made her first prototype. No one knew what it was. Like she created that category, right? Like Spanx is the term that we use, I guess shapewear now, but she created that category. So,
and it was so needed for so long.
Yeah, it was, but she had to educate the market, right? And I feel a lot of that with Racks. Like people don't know peer-to-peer fashion rental. So I would love to meet Sarah Blakely to learn how she created a whole category, and that, she'd be an amazing person.
Well, you're definitely a trailblazer.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming on here today and joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was great seeing you guys 20 years later. I
know.
Or however long it's been, which is crazy.
I know. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Marley. Thanks for joining. We hope you're feeling as inspired as we are to shake things up and drive positive change.
If you like what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and give us our show rating. We'll catch you on the next one.